All right, Shalom. We're the Brothers of Great Millstone, the church in Birmingham, Alabama. And as always, want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakatabash. In the ancient Hebrew tongue would be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His beloved Son, and the Holy Spirit. I also would like to give double honors to our teachers, the head apostle of Great Millstone. Shalom, you brothers out there laboring in His work. And as always, you believe as the Akim as well as the Akim. Those of you out there who subscribe to this truth as well. So we back once again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And as always, you already know what it is. The overtone is prophecy. And that's what's going out throughout the planet Earth. All right, the spirit of prophecy. And really, with that, okay, amid that prophecy going forth, the spirit of justice is going out. There's a criminal on the loose, man. Okay, the so-called white man who hasn't been visited as of yet for all his crimes and atrocities towards, mankind, storming the children of Israel, the nations, all right, the planet Earth, being in the worst case scenario, that's all under the watch of this devil. The extermination of certain species. You have certain species at the brinks of extinction. Certain species are already classified as extinct. The air is poison. The water, and that's something I always bring up in the spirit. That's something you should marvel at, man. The water is contaminated. When the water serves as an agent, that shows of this devil and his reign of terror. Now, when you read, Revelation 11 chapter, it goes into the penalty for destroying the planet Earth, man. So across the board, the so-called white man has been found guilty on all charges. Now, when of apprehending this man, and what's the first step? Identifying and targeting him. You got a precept? Give me 2 Thessalonians. You know what I want. All right? And because this man has been somewhat elusive. One of the so-called white man's strong suit was deception. Those are the two principles, if you will, that centers around Esau's existence. One, obviously, being the sword, but also deception, which the sword was the instrument the Lord gave him to seize control of the planet Earth, but he maintained that control through his deception. So now we're in a time, matter of fact, hold that, I will make him back. Now we're in a time where he's been exposed, all right? And that's really a chink in his armor, okay? Go ahead, Doc.
God, this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. It said, let no man deceive you by any means, for their day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed.
And that man of sin be revealed. So that's steps, if you will, in this process of bringing the wicked to justice. Read that one more time, huh?
It said, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first.
Which that happened. Go ahead.
And that man of sin be revealed.
And that man of sin be revealed. All right? So now when you consider, matter of fact, give me Psalms 64. Is it? And we're going to start at the top. One of the strong suits for the so-called white man was his deception. Hey, you know how we found out this man was defeated? What really was the first step in that process, if you will? Him being revealed. Because one of his strong suits, or should I say, the main strong suit, right, that preserved him, so to speak, was his elusiveness. Him hiding behind the shrouds of secrecy, behind that shadow of deception. You never knew who was running the planet Earth. Someone would ask you who ruled the world. You would say President Biden. That's some crazy shit. No, there's a shadow government. Oh, shadows. One who lurks in the shadows, who in reality says. See? Come on.
God, this is the book of Psalm 64. I started verse 1. It said, hear my voice, O power, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy.
And that enemy we found out to be none other than the so-called white man. Because you might have one of these scriptures, a nigga do a stint in the junk, a bid, and he read the scriptures, and he'll apply enemy to his right number. You know? Yeah, it's op. Yeah, nigga got a tattoo, preserve enemies. You know, and he would apply that to his ops. No, an arch enemy, I might add, and nemesis is the so-called white man. And we don't have to break that down. That's not a hard saying. Just for Roots or 12 Years a Slave, one of these documentaries that's dedicated to, you know, spotlighting slavery, then you'll clearly see that it was the so-called white man who afflicted you. Go ahead.
It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
From the what?
Secret counsel of the wicked.
The secret counsel of the wicked. The reason why that's recorded and penned, because that's one of his powers. He lost power the moment we found out who he was, man. That's heavy right there. That wasn't just a thing for you to talk about in the damn barbershop. You know, the Illuminati. No, once you found out who they was, or like the thumbnail, we got names. That's a wanted poster. We found out who the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah was in pursuit of. And we're gonna probably get, we're gonna get that in Ezekiel. We found out who the Lord was after. Hey, and like we was going into earlier, it was already written. But it was unlocked and activated once we started getting the precepts and speaking it out and publishing it into the world. That activated prophecy right there. Like the example of you find they show you in certain animations, someone find what they call it, a witchcraft book, you know, with spells, and they don't know what they got. You know, pretty much they might read some Alakazam, and then a spell come on, you know. But that's the same with this truth we can receive. Once we started speaking this into existence, that's when everything was brought forth into its light. That's when the scene opened up. All right, read it again. The second verse.
Psalm 64:2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
Yep.
From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
Yeah, and that's where they work in secret. Matter of fact, I know it's more on that. You know, if there's anything you want to get. But Bob, you look up that word secret just out of curiosity. You got something up?
God, this is Nahum 3:5. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord.
Oh, and we read out of the Holy Bible. And you Christians, you should be if you're a Christian, man, I pray. Look, I pray, man, that all you hardcore Christians, you know, be put to death, you know, openly.
That's it.
You know?
That's it.
Because why? Because you have painted, you have misrepresented the God of the Bible. That's an offense, man. You should feel some type of way. You know, the Lord that stands for our justice, and that justice is going to come with vengeance. But you have an organization that's promoting that power to be passive. Well, if that's the case, then it wouldn't be justice. The Lord just let us get our ass kicked, and Esau, you know, stagger up to the throne and ask for forgiveness, and bygones be bygones. No, the scripture, it tells you right here that the Lord is against. Read that again.
Nahum 3:5. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts.
Go ahead.
And I will discover thy skirts upon thy face.
And see, that's how we know that the Lord has resisted the so-called white man's efforts, by exposing him. And that proves that that was a power that he operated under, the power of deception, that shroud of secrecy. Now, with that said, who would that remind you of? A criminal, a hardcore lifetime criminal. He's, you know what I mean? He's in the shadows behind a tent, watching you. You know where he at. He's lurking. You can't get a beat on him. He have nowhere to live. Matter of fact, give me that real quick, guys. Yeah, you can't trace him. When you catch him, you got everybody ID on him. Yeah, kind.
found out McDonald's in Egypt. You know, like,
That's a fingerprint.
it's a fugitive.
Yeah, he been here. He left a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, forensic file. You make an inquisition, and you go to a certain spot, you hide on his trail, and you say, oh, there go McDonald's. He been here. Come on.
God. Yeah, this is the book of Sirach, Ecclesiastes 36, verse 26. Who would trust a thief? Well appointed.
Yep. Oh, who would trust a thief? Well appointed. And our Lord Yahweh Shai, the thief. And who is the thief? The so-called white man. And it's well documented, man. And you don't have to go into any extensive breakdown, right? Let's talk about America. This land, the landmass of America. How did the so-called white man get it? He stole it, and he's an intense criminal, man. He has somewhat of an insidious approach because this man, he conquered it, and then he wrote contracts to bind, East Slovakia, the natives, so that they can even ask for their stuff back. Like, no, they can't even get it back now. Man, come on, that's the devil, man. You keep waiting on the guy in a red suit with some horns. You keep waiting on the guy to come in your dream, in your nightmare, like Freddy Krueger. No, the enemy is right here amongst you. Go ahead, Doc.
God, it said, who would trust a thief? Well appointed.
Go ahead.
From city to city.
Woo, that's skipping from city to city.
So who would believe a man that have no house?
Yeah, who would believe a man that have no house, man? Hey, why? Because you can't trace this man. A man that have no certain dwelling. We know niggas like that. You have someone that don't have a certain a spot that that's theirs. Yeah. Then you can't trust him. I'm gonna loan you $50 and I don't know where to find you. And really, when you go into that, the Lord pretty much, his hatred, that's heavy. The Lord is a duality that comes with Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. The Lord have a nation in whom is dear unto him, who he love, but to balance that off, he had to have somebody he hated, man. See that? And that goes, when it goes into that, not a house to dwell in, when you go into the perfection of that prophecy, what's that, in Amos, I want to say? Where the Lord said, we will possess the remnant. Yeah. That goes into the Lord and not giving this man nothing. He's going to be stripped. And that show you, man, to be an Edomite, that's a fearful thing. Because you are getting no love from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. That's cold, man.
His heritage for the dragon.
Ooh, his heritage for the dragon. Them cold words. The people in whom he would have indignation from. That's coming from the King of Kings, man. But it had to be that way. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua must be on display. Okay? So if you have a people that's going to be received, then on the flip side, you're going to have people that's going to be rejected. All right? So come on.
Continue on Sirach 36 and 26. It says, so who will believe a man that have no house, and Elijah whatsoever the night take him?
Woo! And Elijah whatsoever the night take him. And this is why the so-called white man operates under the night. That's why the scriptures, when referring to Esau's habitation, it would be well under the gods, the banners of night. That's in Isaiah the 60th chapter. All right, Psalms the 23rd chapter. And that night, that darkness varies. Okay, from the rhetoric, his information that he presents to you, and just from a metaphorical place where in the dark you feel a sense of danger. You out, in the dark, okay, I'm brave. In the dark, you on point. You're like, okay, you don't know what's lurking. And danger can present itself in the dark. All right, you come in your house, all the lights out, you could potentially bang your knee. On the corner of and it'll be based upon you moving in the night. But this is how a criminal get out. The righteous is in the bed at night. A criminal out in the shadows, looking to see who he can rip off. Well, that's the so-called white man. Come on.
God, I got to preach that real quick. This Obadiah 1:5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they have not leave some grapes?
Yeah, come on.
Read it again. Yeah, kind of. This is Obadiah 1:5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, and so this is what it's going into, man. This the brothers were speaking on. They only roll in the night. It says, "How art thou cut off? I have stolen till they had enough." And where have they raped and pillaged and robbed? All over the earth, man.
Yeah.
As brother brought out, they just destroyed the earth. Not only do the inhabitants and oppress the heritage, but also the earth itself and the minerals. Yeah. It says, if the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes?
And that shows you the two extremes. Those who, Jacob being of the tent, you know, man of the instruction, it tells you what he would leave grapes. When you go into the law, they had a welfare system. They would leave grapes. But there you go, that extreme. The far wicked side, the dark side, they won't leave grapes. Yeah, goddamn rob. And it's still everything. Hey, look, he stole America. He stole all these resources of the planet Earth, right? He stole our nationality, and we was touching on this. Y'all brace yourself for this one, right? He stole your hope. That's a goddamn criminal right there. And what I mean by that is we didn't have nothing. We didn't even have our nationality. We was reduced to hope. We found out we was Israelites. So now we saying we can hope that the Lord deliver us. That nigga stole that. He said, no, I'm the Israelites. And you know what? To submit that, I got Christianity. And Christianity say everybody can make it. So this man even stole your hope, man. See? Matter of fact, you got something? Give me that Yahweh shot. And you can look that up in the blue letter, Baba Kashad. If you got something out, you can bring it out.
Yeah, just one more. In Obadiah 6, it says, how are the things of Esau searched out? Mm-hmm. How are his hidden things sought up?
Yep, how are his hidden things sought up? And again, that proves that the so-called white man, and what's in his best interest is to move under the shroud of secrecy. That's why you have secret councils, hidden councils. Why do we don't know who's the driving force behind the LGBTQ or certain legislations that's set up an effort to keep us in derision, to keep us further apart? Why we don't really know who's pushing it? You know? Because they'll put a front man out there. Because you have somebody who just looking over the wall, scratching the surface, they might produce a name. But no, bro, you got to go deeper than that. Because again, there's a shadow government that rules and governs over the planet Earth, man. Okay? And the reason, and how they seized control of the planet Earth was by way of violence. Mm-hmm. Can we go there, Genesis, the 27th chapter? Yeah. You know what I want?
Genesis 27, starting at verse 41, It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Yep, go ahead. What verse you at?
Yeah, 41.
Okay, come. Yep. Read. Yep. Go to the blessing. Yep. Okay. Salakia.
Okay. It says, this is Genesis 27:39. It says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off his neck.
Right, so by his sword, this man would gain everything that he has. Basically, it would be by way of violence. See that? So that right there thrust this man in the stratosphere of being that criminal, that thief. Because it wasn't everything the so-called white man got was through bloodshed. You can't think back to nothing he settled or came into through being diplomatic, right? Okay. So he took that sword and he pretty much robs you. All right, come on. And we don't. Hey, don't take our word. Let's get the words of our Lord Yahweh Shai.
God, this is the book of St. John, chapter 10, verse 10. The thief cometh not,
Right.
but for to steal and to kill and to destroy.
Right, the thief. So hey, you have to ask yourself, who is the thief? Well, we just produced the origins of that thief, if you will. It's Esau. We just read in Genesis the 27th chapter concerning him living by his sword. All right? You got it, right?
God. All right, this that word thief. Strong's G 28:12.
Mm-hmm.
It says, an embezzler, pilferer.
Yeah, come on.
All right, this that word man. That word pilferer in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it reads, to steal stealthily. It says to steal stealthily, it's like stealthily in small amounts and often again and again.
Oh, in small amounts and often again and again. This nigga in the house with you, you turn your head. You know? And the brother was actually telling me this before. Motherfucker was taking like a dollar, a penny out of his account. It was a story, I forgot how it went. Yeah, real talk. But the motherfucker was taking like, they weren't taking everything. They were taking like $1 or something out of his account. But you can't know it, you don't see it.
Yeah.
But over a duration of time, that's taken from you. That's really what Esau do. Like even when you work, he's taking some from you. First and foremost, when you go into the principles, if you will, concerning paying someone for their labor, it tells you that you should pay them every day. A day's work, what it is, a day's pay for a day's work, right? Esau make you wait a week, either 2 weeks or a month salary. And you know what? Esau be really wanting you to die before you get that money, man. Because that can potentially happen. Pay me today, man. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a form of that thief stealing. You know, you right here. He hit you right here. You know, and later on that day, he hit you here. He hit you there. And that goes into the gradualism also. Okay, that's attached to the so-called white man's, character.
God.
You got it.
Touching on that IRS system.
Yeah.
The one reason why they don't pay you every week now, 40 hours a week, they would rather pay you bi-weekly. That's more taxes they can take out your. That's just that thief digging into.
That's that thing.
Then monthly, you gotta get more taken out your.
That's right.
Paycheck. Well, if they pay you a week or a day, they can't take it.
Yeah.
They gotta pay you just. But Esau don't do that.
Hey, that's why this man got to be put down, man. Hey, because as you were saying that, you think about how the Lord laid out. How the Lord laid it out, it would bring peace, man. You know? You would be relieved. Life wasn't set up for you to, have this heavy form of resistance. But, we understand why it's this way. Because when you read the curses, Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, it talks about how the Lord would send forth an eagle who would facilitate the curses, if you will. So the so-called white man has legislations, well thought out documents to keep you really oppressed, to keep you vexed, man. That's sick you can be. And that lets you know that's the so-called white man. Because on a smaller level, he'll have certain animals experiment on them. It'll be an effort to torture them and torment them when he didn't even have to go that route. Even the way they slaughter their animals, they don't put them to death. They have them on the damn hanging, going around the assembly line, and we know because it's out there. I was showing y'all who that was up here. I was showing the chickens. All right, the chickens, goddamn baby chickens. You know,
They put them in the eater and shit.
they put them in the eater. They just slide down in the eater and they get grind up. Esau ain't got to do all that. Fucking devil, man. But he get off on that. But he bring it to reality through his legislation. Okay? All right, that was it. All right, come on. And Slacky, and that bags up with the point the brother was making. Even with the IRS and how they pay.
Tax system.
Yeah, they have a tax system. And it's legislated by them devils. The crowd against it, he'll say, no, you're under Article B423. You know, and that justify him robbing you, man. That's why this man is wanted. In the spirit of justice that went throughout the planet Earth. That's where we at. You got something up?
Another thing, I can't save your life because you have to work 40 hours a week. You have to work the appropriated hours that are allocated for you. That's why I can't save your life, or that's why I can't give you health insurance, because you don't work those hours. You work 25, that's why he cut you under sometimes. Esau cut you under 40 hours.
Yeah.
Even for you to not get that, you know, that's going to the system too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 35 hours, you know.
And you really didn't see it fall like that. You thought she was going to hit 40. As the week unfolds, like, man, I got 35 hours. Fucking devil. And the brothers, they put up child support. That's vexing. That's okay? Because usually they give license to these women to parade around and be fucking whores. And then you have a man to sponsor their whoredom. And who signed off on that? Esau, man. That's why we're going to fuck that little. Come on up. Get it now. That's why we understand the rod of iron. Oh, that's where the rod of iron comes in. Let me did a lesson on it. That's going to have to be a series, man.
This is why.
Yeah. And this is where the rod of iron comes into the equation. Now we get it. You know that's the Lord calmed us down by saying, "Oh, I'm gonna give you a rod of iron." That's so we can exact vengeance, man.
That's it.
That's the only way we're gonna make things right. All right, come on.
God, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 18, verse 37. I have pursued my enemies.
See, I have pursued my enemies. When you pursue someone, they on the run. And I'm gonna say this: if you ever, you ever saw Cops or one of these series dedicated to law enforcement, we're in hot pursuit. We're in hot pursuit. That word pursuit, it ties into a criminal. You got a precept? Give me Ezekiel, the 35th chapter, and you already know we're gonna go to Genesis, the 4th chapter. The Spirit allowed. Okay? Because the idea of a criminal, a fugitive, one that's sought out as it relates to justice, it's the so-called white man. That's why he's created with that translucent skin, with blood so forth. That's a mark of the criminal. And that word red, when you go into it, it goes into warning. So it's equivalent to you hearing that motherfucker walk in the door, alert.
Yeah.
See, and we that sound. We that actual we telling you, there you go. That's the devil. That's the so-called white man that's the criminal who the scriptures speak about. That's who Yahweh was chasing down. Go ahead,
This is Ezekiel 35:5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by
right. Read that again.
It says, because thou hast had a perpetual.
Now this is the Lord pretty much breaking down the offense, the charges. You get pulled over. Why you pulled me over? It was because you did 80 in a 40. One kick in your door. And they got a warrant. They read the warrant off. Well, that's us. And especially when we come around you devils up in chains. We're going to have the scripture. We're going to be based upon the scripture. He that leadeth in the captivity shall go. Motherfucker crying to you and you have one of your best readers. He that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity, man. Go ahead,
Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred.
Woo!
And hast shed the blood of the
So the Lord is giving Esau the reason why he's warning. Go ahead.
And has shed the blood of the children of Israel.
That's a criminal act. He's a murderer. Yeah. Go ahead.
It says, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, power, I will prepare thee unto blood.
Right. And when you read Isaiah the 14th chapter, it speaks about how the Lord has prepared this scenario, this scene in the drama, which is slaughter. That's a cold word. The Lord said he prepared slaughter for Esau. All right. Him being the narrator, the screenwriter. So he prepared that judgment is going to come in the form of slaughter. But
thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee.
And blood shall pursue thee. That blood right there symbolizes justice. Okay? It's the I-2 for over here. So blood is going to pursue Esau. And why would blood pursue you? Because he's running. And that shows you he's a criminal. You got something? You got it.
Yeah, it says, since thou hast not hated blood.
Ooh, and that's the so-called white man. From his entertainment, case in point, horror movies. Blood is all over the place. The way they eat their food, how do you like your steak? Rare, medium rare, best. See? They drink blood. Oh, vampires. That came from Esau. See? Not to mention hunting for sport, for the thrill, man. It's not for survival. So they haven't hated blood. So the Lord said, blood shall pursue them. Go ahead.
It says, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
See, even blood shall pursue thee. And again, that word pursue, right? You can associate that with a high-speed chase. And that's the best way we can explain. That's why we're here. We're here to break it down to you and give you clarity so you can see clearly that this is who the scriptures are speaking about. You can't tell me this devil ain't running from his judgment. He's running from it. The mere fact that he's not willing to associate himself with being an Edomite. Not just that, he don't even say nobody Edomites. You don't hear nothing about an Edomite. He just completely suppressed that. The mere fact that he's distorted history, that's equivalent to a motherfucker wiping away fingerprints. Why you don't want us to know history? Why you don't want us to know what went on? How we was brought over before you, because you're only where you could, they lead you back to West Africa. 1492. Yeah, 1492. 1492. You think that was the beginning of the world? Yeah.
That's when history started.
Yeah, that's Noah's. Yeah, because Columbus went out on a voyage. No, it's the history is vast, man, and the Lord opened us up to that. And in doing so, we found out who was the offender and criminal, man. And now we're in a time where the spirit of justice is going throughout the planet. That's what Esau is running away from. He's running away from justice. All right, come on, yes,
yeah, going back in Nahum 3 and 5, it always says, behold, I'm against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face.
Beautiful. And
I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdom thy shame.
Yeah, and that complements what the brother brought out in 2 Thessalonians. There will be a time where the Lord will identify and the corporate. That's the first step. When you take a step back and consider, law enforcement, like they identify and target the offender, the corporate. He's brought up on the charges. Then he's brought up to court. Inquisition is made. You can get that. Inquisition is made. Then the judgment comes down. He's arraigned, and all of a sudden, I'm gonna say this, and this only for the real analytical thinkers, man. What's the next process after he's guilty? He go to jail. Before he's home, he goes he goes to jail first. Then the execution comes. Whether it's the electric chair, the firing squad, or hanging. But that's the chronological order when concerning the so-called white man being brought up to justice. He's been brought up on the charges. The Lord has found him guilty. It's undisputable. And now he's going to go to jail. That jail is slavery for 1,000 years, and he's going to be exterminated. That's the fate of the so-called white man. But now we're in the process where the Lord is publishing the fact that he's wanted. That's the time we're in. And you know one thing about that pretty much make the hair on the back of you, you get nervous. You hear, man, you want it. You want it by the long arm of the law. That's your house shot. Yeah, that's it. The long arm of the law, baby. Oh, the scripture say that. My hand have found out all my enemies. You got it out.
God, this is 2 Ezra 6 and 19. Well, I started verse 18. It said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth. Woo!
Yep, and that's dealing with the so-called. Right now, who's inhabiting the planet Earth is Esau. Okay? Because he's governing over things. He's in power. When the Lord came and delivered us in the time of ancient Egypt, his sights were set on Pharaoh. At that time, that's who the Lord visited, who dwelled on the planet Earth. But now we're in the time of the visitation of Esau. Go ahead.
It says, and will begin to make inquisition of them.
Mm-hmm.
Would they be that have hurt unjustly?
The Lord says he's going to, at some point, begin to make inquisition concerning those who have dealt unjustly, man. You can't tell me that's not the so-called white man. Just go into the Indian Removal Act, man. Fucking devils. Go ahead,
It says, and will begin to make inquisition of them, would they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled.
When the affliction of Zion should be fulfilled. Now, as our affliction is being fulfilled, Esau's rulership is being fulfilled. That goes into Lazarus and the rich man. Remember it saying both of them died? Matter of fact, let's prove that. Give me Job real quick. What's that? Job 36 and 17. Because the scripture just said the Lord is going to make inquisition on Israel when our iniquity is fulfilled. Meaning we're in a time where the Lord is now once more showing favor on Israel. Our judgment is fulfilled. Oh, get that in Lamentations. As our punishment comes to a close, the Lord is now going to set his sights on Esau. Now I got to get you. I'm going to get you now. Matter of fact, let's go there, then we'll go ahead.
Okay, I started 21. Lamentations 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz.
Oh, that word dwellest again, right?
The cup also shall pass through unto thee.
Yep, the cup shall pass unto thee. All right, so meaning what? To simplify, you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to digest, all right, the Lord's visitation. We had to deal with it. We had to drink of the cup. Matter of fact, continue.
It says, thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked.
And that's another chink in his armor. Again, the so-called white man being exposed, in particular the chief house of the nation of Edom, right? Who comes in the form of the international bankers, by them being exposed, they household names now. Do you know that took their power from them? That they actually operated behind being hidden. That's why the Lord keep boasting this. Yep, I got you. I took this. I made you better. Took you from the secret. Go ahead.
Verse 22, it says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion.
See? And that goes into Lazarus and the rich man. When it says Lazarus died, that means his His judgment was accomplished. Go ahead.
It says he will no more carry thee away into captivity.
Right, and that's why all of you who are not willing to hearken to the report and the glad tidings, you're going to die. And we want you to die. You 2/3, we want you to die. You're holding up the kingdom. You should be ecstatic. Man, like Tyson, you should be ecstatic. Like Tyson. You should be ecstatic that we'll never go into captivity again, man. Go ahead.
It says he will visit thine iniquity.
Oh, the Lord says he's going to what?
Visit thine iniquity.
Go ahead.
O daughter of Edom.
Right, O daughter of Edom. And that also goes into Lazarus and the rich man. When the rich man died, that's the time where the Lord is going to visit his iniquity. His rulership, his power will cease. Go ahead.
He will discover thy sin.
Come on, man. He will discover sins. Once again, proving that the Lord exposing Esau is a form of taking away his power. And that's why this is a part of the story. Tonight, the idea of the rulers of the planet Earth being wanted. And really, that's at the forefront of the ministry. When we teach the kingdom of heaven by default, we're teaching the apprehending of the criminals and justice being brought to the planet Earth. All right, you got something up? Is that Job? Let's get that.
This is the book of
Here we
Job.
go.
Job 36 and 17. But thou hast fulfilled the judgment of the wicked.
Oh, see, the Lord have fulfilled the judgment of the wicked. So this is the time. See, you can't go no further than that. Once something is fulfilled, something in its perfection, then judgment come down. We saw that tonight, like off the record. When some run its course, and the Spirit of the Lord ain't gonna let it just keep going. It's gonna step down and bring judgment, man. But on a major scale, that applies to the criminal Esau. Hey, they even tell you, man, selling drugs, the life of a criminal, it don't have no end. It's either dead or in jail. Come on, man. That shows you the justice of Yahweh. As a matter of fact, let's go there. Continue.
It said, but thou hast the judgment of the wicked, judgment and justice.
Judgment and justice. Go ahead.
Take hold on thee.
Take hold on thee. So justice is an entity. Justice has now went out throughout the planet Earth. That's why when you second Genesis, that hand holding that heel, that's justice. Bringing you down to your rightful lot in which you was meant to occupy. That's justice. And that's what we witnessing here, man. Okay? And that was it on it, right? Yeah, we really go off more into that. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, that's beautiful. All right, come on. But for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead. Matter of fact, I want you to get Genesis, the 4th chapter. All right, come on.
This is Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee.
Right, and that's, again, that's honorable mention. It pretty much, that was Yahweh summarizing what we're going into. It's going to be a time where our afflictions is going to come to an end, going to be fulfilled, and Esau's afflicting is going to come to an end. And at that point, the Lord is going to change the narrative. All right? Esau is now going to be afflicted. Hey, we found out that's the only true justice. Christianity tells you to turn the other cheek. You lay back and that nigga until you die. No. With the pigeon toe now. But hey, first of all, you don't understand that scripture. You don't understand what it's going into, man. All right, when you read the scripture, you understand. Why would the Lord say that and turn around in Revelation the 13th chapter and say, he that leads in the captivity said, go to captivity, man. So that's the only way we made right. We're going to have to visit those who visited us. And the Lord is bridging the gap. We are getting closer and closer to that by the Lord being in pursuit of the criminal, Now let's go there. Let's go to Genesis 4 chapter. We've been here plenty of time, but we're going to bring it out again because this is the so-called white man himself acknowledging that he's the criminal. I'm going to say something. A criminal always have a reaction. That's why they get pulled over. Man, The cop, the criminal guy, hey, just do your thing. The cop do this, and you react. And then the cop pull yours. You looking in your glove compartment. The cop might just kill you, but Esau's reactions prove that he was a criminal, man. You might say, well, how is Esau reacting in such a way? Well, I need to send an email to you. He got an email saying that we shouldn't tell the truth. When you read him down this down, he's sending emails telling us not to tell the truth, man. Form of YouTube guidelines. Go ahead, Up. That reaction contributes to us knowing that you're the criminal, man. Go ahead, Up.
Yeah, this is the book of Genesis 4 and verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear.
Right. And when you read the punishment, when you go into the punishment, every time here the scriptures is, you will read that and you'll think that the punishment is only before that precept. You got to go back to find out. You can go back and find out some of the punishment. But you can go into Revelation 13 chapter and just quote and find out the punishment. The punishment is just going into captivity. So his punishment is greater than he can bear. And that provokes what? A reaction. So now what he's doing is to kill you off. He's looking to push forth the idea of depopulation. His campaign is to kill you. And that's a criminal. He know you the witness. You had the two witnesses. That's the prophets. And what do a criminal do? A hardcore lifetime criminal. He said, I'm gonna put a hit on you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you so you can't show up in court. Go ahead. That's the reaction from him not being able to bear that sentence. Go ahead.
He says, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And from thy face shall I be hid.
Mm-hmm. Yet the Lord will not show his tender mercy to Esau. And that face is dealing with this truth, which is the very bridge to mercy. And that's heavy too. Because Esau is seeking out the mercy of the Lord some kind of way. He want to be redeemed, you know? So he accused us, but ultimately he's carnal. That's why when the so-called white man in the form of his biblical scholars and historians, when they go into this book, it's a carnal approach. They have to dig for relics and ancient artifacts. They excavate the land and find a piece with King David's name on it, and that's proof, and they still don't believe. But this is a spiritual thing. The only way you can receive the mercy, the sure mercies of David, right, which is in the form of Yahweh Shai, you have to be able to tap into this word, which is the face of the Lord. That's why Cain said, I have been hidden from your face. And you know what? It puts you in a certain setting. It illustrates a real king. Let's say if you're real royal and somebody come to you and they ask for mercy, what's the coldest move? You just...
Ooh.
If a motherfucker come and ask you for mercy and you just say, then that means you just fall and you done. You see? And the scriptures tell you in Ecclesiastes, I think it's the 12th chapter, if thou doest good, know who thou doest good to. We ain't got to do good to you either, man. And that's the mentality. Hey, and the only reason that'll play out is because of your wickedness. So with that, Yahweh Shai would not show his face, which is equivalent to extend mercy to Esau. And you can read more on that by going into the book of what's that, Malachi, the first chapter. Come on.
This is Isaiah 26 and 10. Let favor be shown to the wicked.
Beautiful.
Yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of righteousness will he deal unjustly, and will behold the majesty of the Lord.
And will not behold the majesty of the Lord. And because Esau, he cannot be rehabilitated. He was built like that. This man is not going to ever consider the scriptures and apply righteousness, to the fray. That's not an option. He would never infuse righteousness into his system. Why? Because he would not behold the majesty, which again, the majesty of the Lord shines through the scriptures, the instructions. And Esau is not about instruction. That's in Psalm the 50th chapter. Since thou hatest instruction. All right, come on, let's get that. We're going to do ready. This build.
Genesis 4:14. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth.
I shall be a fugitive in the earth and a vagabond. Go ahead.
It said, and it shall come to pass.
And what's that going into? If you've been listening and paying attention and taking notes in your mental Rolodex, when you see that phrase, it shall come to pass, that has everything to do with prophecy, man. Read that again.
It says, and it shall come to pass
go ahead.
that everyone that findeth me.
That everyone that what?
Findeth me.
Findeth me, implying that he's running. He's hiding. He's being the criminal he was meant to be. Which, by the way, we was going into that earlier before we went into the lesson. Crimson. Go back to red. That's interchangeable with criminal. That's why even you hear the phrase, he was caught red-handed. See? So read they said, and whosoever shall what?
It says, it's like it said that, and it's like, and it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me.
Shall slay me. Hey, now, real quick, since you read that, go back to 2 Thessalonians. Let's piece this together. Matter of fact, we'll go there. Let's get this. The scripture says, whosoever shall find me shall slay me. That's the chronological order. So before the so-called white man is destroyed, which will be played out in the form of World War III and the overthrow of America, he will be found out. So that's what Cain was saying. Whosoever shall find me shall slay me. Well, guess what? That sentiment was echoed right here. Go ahead, up.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2, I started on verse 7. It says, for the you have already worked.
Yep, that's secrecy. That's the way he operates behind the shrouds of deception. Right? Go ahead.
Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way.
Yep, go ahead.
It said, and then shall that wicked be revealed.
From the time of Genesis all the way to now. That's why I said, and then, finally, Esau's worst fears. Remember he said, whoso shall find me. Well, when you read right here, this Apostle Paul, this is prophecy, man. Said, then that moment what Cain feared, what happened, he would be revealed. So you go ahead.
It said, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth.
Go ahead.
And shall destroy with the brightness of his countenance.
See, which goes right in what Cain said. Whoso shall find me shall slay me. What we just read, he will be revealed, then he will be destroyed. That's what happens with criminals. In this case, he's wanted dead or alive. Which really, when you go into that means by any means.
Get this nigga off the street.
We got to get this guy off the street. If you want peace, and they say like, this is a dangerous guy. We got to. And I'm gonna say another thing about a criminal. Once you close in on, if he's a crazy criminal like Esau is, he's gonna up the strap and he's gonna die in the hell of bullets. Well, that's World War III, man. All right, so let's get this right here. We ready to color. Come on. I thought you had something. Well, hey, the point made. Hey, the point made. That's the time we're in. We're in a time where justice is now going throughout the planet Earth. And that's in Psalms 89 and 14, where it speaks about really the two principles, if you will, that centers around the throne of Yahweh Shema Shah, which are justice and judgment, man. Okay? So we're in a very heavy time where the Lord has not set his sights on Esau. And that he's fired off in the sunset, neither will he escape with the spoils. All right? So with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to our teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, you brothers out there laboring in his work. And as always, you believe the Akim as well as the Aqua. Those of you out there who subscribe to the truth. This time, Shalom. DTA, Abba, soon.
Very soon. Rain gaps.
Yeah, Con.
Check them now.
Watch the